In today's news, President Donald Trump's newly announced tariffs on goods originating from Canada, Mexico, and China could have unforeseen ripple effects throughout U.S. healthcare. Let's delve into what this means for drug availability, healthcare expenditure, and the pharmaceutical industry as a whole. In a sweeping trade decision, President Trump declared a 25% tariff on nearly all imports from Canada and Mexico, and a 10% tariff on items from China, set to take effect this week. The measures are intended to halt what Trump describes as the flow of fentanyl and undocumented immigrants into the country, though they may come at a steep cost. Experts warn that these tariffs could aggravate the already existing shortage of critical medications. From life-saving cancer therapies to essential generic drugs, the U.S. faces supply challenges already. This leaves hospitals and patients to ration their medications, with disruptions in supply chain potentially driving up healthcare costs. Generic drugs represent about 90% of all prescriptions in the U.S., making them one of the most used drugs by many Americans. A tariff imposed on imported pharmaceutical products could bankrupt the few remaining generic drug manufacturers supporting a low-cost treatment, leaving patients with less choice at a time when those choices are most needed. John Murphy, Chief Executive Officer of the Association for Accessible Medicines, argues that the extra cost burden could drive generic manufacturers to exit markets where profit margins are already razor-thin. He and other industry leaders are urging the administration to exempt these critical drugs from tariffs. Trade organizations representing commodity traders, one of such palm men will hardly make a round of profit, might warn of problems building further pressure on supply chains, leading to further drug shortages for these traders, who might not quantify their inventories, and add that this shortage struggle will cripple not only controlled drugs in areas such as Medicare and/or Medicaid programs, but also for ordinary patients alike. Research from Yale University's Budget Lab estimates that over the long term, these tariff-induced changes in the supply chain could nudge pharmaceutical prices up by approximately 1%. On another front, the tariffs implicate countries that play an important role in the production of active pharmaceutical ingredients, or APIs. China supplies much of the world with these components. The fear is that higher import costs will bring higher prices for both brand name and generic drugs. The heat is coming not just from the drug industry, but also from medical devices. Among them is Intuitive Surgical, known for its robotic systems, which manufactures its products largely in Mexicali. The tariffs could increase production costs and dent the company's margins. Tariffs act as an excise tax on imported medical technologies, resulting in critical shortages and higher prices for hospitals and patients. It is really important to keep these products out of the tariff regime for the sake of innovation and access. While the Trump administration contends that the tariffs are deemed necessary for protecting U.S. interests and combating unfair external trade practices, industry insiders and health service providers will find themselves raising flags of serious concern over possible fallouts on supplies and costs of healthcare. In summary, the tariffs could inside the pharmaceutical supply chain cause disruptions, contributing to intensified drug shortages and increased costs, which would affect the end user, the patient. The U.S. imports most of the active pharmaceutical ingredients and generic drugs, and stakeholders have called for exemptions to protect public health and maintain market stability. Make no mistake, everyone will be paying close attention to how the healthcare and pharmaceutical sectors shall respond to these policy changes. We shall continue to cover this developing story and bring updates as they come along. For now, thank you for watching.